beard, hanging on the cross, 33 and a half, 34 years old, brown hair and brown beard. When John the Revelator sees him, he's got white hair and he's got a white beard. All of a sudden, the cross changed his appearance. Matter of fact, it's so much on the Emmaus Road, he starts talking to some disciples and they don't even recognize him. They just saw him a few days before. All they knew was the historical Jesus, brown hair and brown beard. They never met the resurrected Jesus. I'm here to declare to you that much of the body of Christ still has not met the resurrected Jesus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Most are still trying to live like the historical Jesus, and they're still trying to live under law, and then we'll wear little things, WWJD. What would Jesus do? The problem is, the only way, if you're going to WWJD, the only way you can do what Jesus did is you've got to go back under law, because he was born under law. In order to do everything he did, you have to be under law to do it. He's not asking us to do what he did. He's asking us, he's realizing that he already fulfilled it all once and for all, and now he's so changed. Lord have mercy. See, if we don't understand this simple little point, where'd the white hair come from? Have you ever thought about that? Do you know that in the Old Testament, leprosy caused people, it turned their hair white. Miriam, when she was stricken with leprosy, the Bible says her hair became white as wool. In Leviticus, it tells us that whenever a plague is declared in the land, it turned the people's hair white. Now, gray is honor and maturity, and so mother ain't saying you got any leprosy over there, mother. There's honor that comes with it. You got a little sneaking out there too. And I keep mine short here because I got a little gray up in there yet. I don't know if I'm ready for it, so I just keep it short. But white is something else. And remember when I did a study on this a few years back, it dawned on me, because I said, how come the men on the road to Emmaus didn't recognize Jesus? I mean, these are people that walked with him. But his form changed after the cross to where they literally did not recognize his physicality. That the cross changed him even physically to such a degree. Now watch, I want you to see how important this is. When John the Revelator saw him, he said his hair and his beard were white as wool. That on the cross, Jesus just didn't take our sin. The Bible says he became sin. To such a degree that, listen, he took our leprosy. Leprosy all through the Old Testament was a picture and type of sin and rebellion. He so took our sin and rebellion, it changed his hair white. And the reason why is now for all of eternity, every time we see the white hair, we're going to throw our hands in the air worshiping, saying, he took my sin away. Every time we see the white hair, we're going to be reminded that he became a leper so we can be sons.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yes, sir.
So in other words, even the form of Jesus changed from this side of the cross to this side of the cross.
Yeah.
And so you have Peter, a good Jewish boy. He's not standing at the foot of the cross. And I remember thinking about this, saying, Lord, why? I mean, I understand Peter messed up and everything else, but with how bold Peter was. And I can almost see Peter, he's back fishing again. A couple different things going through Peter's mind. Number one, I think Peter felt a little lied to. I think he felt a little, my friends in the South would say, hoodwinked and bamboozled. He's like, I followed this guy for 3.5 years, and he's not the Messiah, because the Messiah was supposed to come set himself up as king, and he was supposed to overthrow Rome. And instead, he's dying on a cross. He probably felt, my family told me he's probably not the one. He's probably one of the false Christs. And he followed him anyway. Probably felt a little lied to. But then there was another side of Peter that knew he was the Christ. But there was that side of Peter that was a good Jewish boy, so he was raised to be a law keeper. And I can see him fishing on his boat saying, man, I don't have access to his presence. I messed up. I didn't love him enough. I've not been praying enough. I've not been going to church enough. I've not been giving enough. I've not been serving enough. Listen, you have no idea as I travel how many people I run into at restaurants that are overhearing us talking, waiters and waitresses who will say, yeah, I heard you guys talking. I used to go to church, and man, that was just too hard. I just can't do that, and I feel like I'm constantly letting God down. And there's this constant thing of Peter did not feel he had access to the presence of Jesus because of how he had been living. But what's interesting is that John did. But the Bible doesn't call it John. Actually, John's writing it, and John says there's 3 Marys and the disciple who Jesus loved. So why did John feel he had access when none of the other disciples felt they did? See, John messed up. Matter of fact, John so rejected Jesus that in the garden, he was so quick to get away from Jesus, he ran out of his clothes. Listen, you know how scared you got to be to run butt naked? I mean, you ain't scared, you're scared. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, he run butt naked out of the garden. I mean, you think he'd at least been like Adam, grab some figs or something, to cover yourself up. He runs out as fast as he can, completely runs away from Jesus. But when Jesus is in his most difficult hour, John's the one standing there. No other disciples there, only John. And it hit me here a few years ago, meditating on this. I was like, well, why was John the one there? And it hit me, it's right in the text on why. He doesn't call himself John. He said, the disciple who the Lord loved. In other words, John realized something that Peter and the other disciples did. John had a revelation of something that was going to be a truth after the cross, but he got a revelation of it before the cross because he realized that my relationship with Jesus is not contingent on my love for him, but on his love for me. That's why John went right in 1 John chapter 4, this, herein is love. He said, if you want to know what love looks like, herein is love. Not that we loved him, because under the law, it was about us loving him. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. The number one law. Herein is love, not that we love him, but that he loved us. In other words, he said there's something that's changing, and the cross shifted it. It's not about your love for God, it's about God's love for you. Listen, no wonder Mary and Martha show up to Jesus and they say, would you come to our house? Our brother Lazarus has died. And they didn't say, Lazarus, the one who loves you, the one who's faithful to you. Come heal Lazarus because he comes to every service. Come heal Lazarus because he was a good little church boy. They said, Lord, would you come heal him? The one who you love. Yeah. See, what moved Jesus is not man's love towards him. What moved Jesus is when they reminded Jesus of his love for them. You see, I wonder what would happen if the whole body of Christ began to get a simple revelation. I am the disciple that Jesus loves. That this is completely undeserved.